Previously on another episode.
What a thinker! Nunes was signed in 2004. How is Fowler lower bracket than Sturridge low?
Welcome back to my tier list. If you haven't seen the first part already, make sure you do, because we're already halfway through. I think we're actually a little bit more than halfway through. I believe we have about 38 signings left. I'm led to believe I haven't missed anybody between 2005 and 2015. But just as a recap, between this decade, between 2005 and 2015, I am led to believe that this was the decade of banter in Liverpool, where sure, there were a few shining lights, a few diamonds in the rough, but ultimately there were so many players who I felt were either not worthy of wearing a Liverpool shirt, or literally just forgot how to play football. And during this decade, after Istanbul, we literally just won one Super Cup and 2 League Cups. Compare that to now, where every single position is facilitated with a near enough world-class player, and it's an incredibly strong bench. If you can already see here, in my personal perspective, there was more players in why did we bother signing than any of the others, Don't get me started on this guy. So, let's carry on where we were. In Sewer, what could have been? One of my favourite ever Football Manager games, I don't play them anymore unfortunately, but my favourite one was 2010. And Emiliano Insua was always a left back that I wanted to sign whichever club I was at. He was a great player on the game. It's such a shame that we didn't keep him longer and maybe have facilitated that left back position for years to come. It is what it is. It's such a shame. Djibril Cissé. I like to think he was good. He was a good striker. Not great. Not about decent. If he was on FIFA, I would have given him maybe like an 80 rating, an 81. He had the pace. It seemed like his impact was just a bit far and few. So I'd kind of put him on the lesser degree of being good. He just about scrapes it. John Joe Shelby, I think it was just a first piece of bread and loaf. He was alright. He is somebody who I am very frustrated with in his whole career, because with Mario Balotelli, he has an abundance of talent, but to summarise it in one word, squandered. John Joe Shelby, I feel like he had, again, an abundance of talent. He was kind of like a maverick. He was a maverick. I remember you could have easily made a compilation of him playing football. The distribution, the decision making. Sometimes he was such a good joy to watch, but it's just inconsistency. He was just a rotation player, and it's such a shame because he could have easily been what could have been, but it isn't to say that he was bad. I feel he was decent. Jan Kromkamp, I think I'm going to put him in the same sort of category. He could have been good. He could have been good. Maybe I'll put him about there. Yeah, no. Off you go. I'm going to put him here, just about. He was near the top sort of part of it. He was a right back for Liverpool. I believe he only played for Liverpool for one season, and I feel like he fit his purpose for the one season. You could have argued he might have not fit the Liverpool shirt at the time, but I don't think he was that much of a travesty or a liability. Thinking back, I think he was decent. He was good. Dejan Lovren. Now, I feel like there's two different parts to Dejan Lovren's Liverpool career. On one hand, I believe there was a very good reason why we signed him. He was an incredibly solid defender for Southampton, and to right, he was one of the main reasons why Southampton succeeded during, I think it was Ronald Koeman's tenure at Southampton. But then it seemed like the jump to Liverpool was a little bit of a stretch. He was I'd say he could have been a cult hero for Southampton. Not as much for Liverpool. I'm going to put him in the middle. He was good. He was decent. He fit the mould of being a first team player, but sometimes he was a liability, sometimes he was great. Gonzalez. Mark Gonzalez. What could have been? I think he could have been Maxi Rodriguez levels. But it just seems like he was just there. You know, we didn't really give him the consistency to really show what could have been. I think he was a very good player. A very, very good player. But it's just a shame that I don't think we ever saw the best of him. That's all. Torres, an icon, so much so, we bought him at the perfect time. We sold him to Chelsea at the perfect time. We bought him from Atletico, scored an abundance of goals, sold for a massive profit, hence why we got Suarez. He was an icon in every level, and sure, it was so sad to see him leave Liverpool, but in hindsight, it was the perfect timing because of his legs wearing out and getting the injuries and such. He was an icon, I believe. Bellamy, I think he was good. I'm going to put him next to Fowler. I think he was very good. He's a tenacious striker. It was a joy watching him because he reminds me a little bit of Robbie Keane. He was made to be a striker. It was instinctive. And every single club he joined, I'd be led to believe he somewhat succeeded, if not more. Liverpool, I think he succeeded. Potentially with breaking John Arne Riis's leg with that golf club. But let's forget about that. Mohamed Sissoko, I think he was good. He was very good. He was fit for purpose. Had a couple really, really great moments of Liverpool. Sometimes the man we relied on in the centre of the park of Gerrard, he was good. Peter Crouch. This is a tough one. I'm torn between a cult hero and good for Liverpool. I'm led to believe that Crouch is one of the best England strikers, period. And his record, his games and goals ratio speaks volumes. But it's Liverpool we're talking about. I think he was good for Liverpool. Very good. Mamadou Sakho. This is going to be controversial. I think he was good for Liverpool. But there were things going on away from the pitch that I believe cut his Liverpool career short, and it's such a shame that we did not see what he could have been for Liverpool in hindsight. In a positive retrospect, nobody talks about Sakho now. He was our main guy at the back with Martin Skrtel, and it was when Klopp joined that the cracks started to show about what kind of person ultimately Sakho was. For me, he was just someone who did not take football seriously. And that is a great shame, because I enjoyed watching Sakho play football. I enjoyed him playing at the back for Liverpool. And there is a reason I believe Klopp sold him, really. And that's why I think what could have been with him, you know? Now let's talk about Martin Skrtel. I say he's a cult hero. I don't care. He is, oh goodness me, he is a cult hero for Liverpool. He is such a brave defender. He reminds me of Manuel Pochettino. It's such a great sort of testament to him. It's good to have two defenders with different personalities, maybe a ball-playing defender and one who would stick their neck out in danger to make sure that his team didn't concede a goal. I rate Skirtle highly and greatly. He's a cult hero for me. Simon Mignolet. He was good. He was good. He was fit for purpose. You know, he was part of the Liverpool squad that got to second in the Premier League. And you have to give a bit of respect to that. This was a time when Liverpool was still trying to find constantly stable goalkeeper, and I would like to think Mignolet paved the way in between Reina and Alisson. Adam Lallana. It's such a shame that injuries and inconsistencies just plagued him, you know? It's not to the case of me feeling he didn't deserve to wear a Liverpool shirt. I think he did. There's a reason why he was a talisman and a great player for Southampton. But it's such a shame as soon as we got him that we didn't see that with Liverpool. So I'm going to put him there. Charlie Adam, I don't think we should have bothered with him. He was, again, a big fish in a small pond with Blackpool, and he was fantastic with set pieces and the like. And as soon as he joined Liverpool, it was just downhill from there. This is where I don't think it should be a disrespectful thing of him putting him, why did we bother? It's a case of, I just don't think we should have signed him for his sake. Jovanovic, less said the better. Again, just a filler player, no recollection of at all watching him play. He looked like a 50-year-old as soon as we signed him, you know? He has a worse hairline than me. Let's not get into that. Thank you very much. Christian Paulson. Another one. Why did we bother? Roy Hodgson. Goodness me. Just signing players because of a comfort zone of having familiar faces in your squad, and half of them didn't work. Konchesky didn't work. He only lasted 6 months, then going to Nottingham Forest. Paulson didn't work. There's a reason why. Goodness me. Raul Meireles. Now I have a story for you here. I'm going to put him in good, and I'll tell you why. For me personally, I could have easily put him in cult heroes. He was a midfielder who I love to watch in his solitary season for Liverpool. And I could have easily put him what could have been for Liverpool because he only stayed for one season. But I'm going to put him in good. He was the second ever player I had printed on the back of a t-shirt. I had the first ever one I had was Torres. And then Chelsea bought him. So I thought, alright, let's see who else I can do. Oh, I like Raul Meireles. Let's put him on the back of my shirt. Then he got sold the next year, so I chose to never have a name on the back of my shirt. More so Liverpool, because it seems like maybe if I have Salah or Van Dijk on a t-shirt next season, then it'll be a bad omen. So if I see, if I ever get a shirt, maybe that's what I'll do. If there's any players who I feel aren't good enough for Liverpool or having a terrible time, I'm just going to buy a Liverpool shirt and have their name on the back, and then maybe West Ham will sign them or something like that. Luis Garcia, I think he's a cult hero. Again, with so many of these, they are such a joy to watch. And with Luis Garcia and Xabi Alonso in the mix, it was poetry in motion. You enjoyed having a midfield with these two players and their characteristics of how to impact a team match. It was great. Alberto Aquilani. What could have been? Again, injuries. Alberto Aquilani had the qualities to fit in a Liverpool shirt. That's why I'm not putting him in the why did we bother. We bothered because we needed more midfield reinforcements, and what better way than an Italian prodigy, from Francesco Totti even labelling in him. We just got him at a bad time for so much money, and he had so many injuries. It's such a shame. What could have been, man? Pepe Reina? I could put him as an icon. he was an icon. He took the mantle from Jerzy Dudek, and sure, there were a few mistakes he had, more so in the Merseyside derby when Andy Johnson headed the ball above him when Reina, for whatever reason, threw the ball into his head. But it felt like a majority of the time you felt comfortable and you knew that Pepe Reina fit into that Liverpool top. And I remember wearing it fondly. Scott Carson, he was just first piece of bread life. He was the protege. He was a second in charge. You know, he fit for purpose. He got England caps. Maybe he shouldn't have joined England at such a young age, and McLaren him using him at such a young age. But what can you do now? You know, what can you do? Lucas, he was good. He was decent. He spent a decade at Liverpool for a reason. You know, you felt like you were in safe hands with Lucas in your team. Alberto Moreno. Now this is a tricky one, because he doesn't fit in the what could have been, because we saw what he was. He was the left-footed Glenn Johnson. You know, he was great in the attack, but a liability at the back. I feel like he wasn't good for Liverpool. You know, he was a liability. But you can't measure a person's time at a club for one match alone. And the match I'm talking about was that Sevilla match in the Europa League final. It was a shame. You know, what could have been if he was more defensively profound. But I wouldn't go as far as that, and I wouldn't go as far as saying he was good. He was just first piece of bread and loaf. That's it. Samed Yassel. That's what it is. Why do we bother? Know nothing about him. We bought him for a couple million. What's the point? Fernando Morientes. I'm torn between these two. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to put him in what could have been. Yes, he was a flop. Yes, why did we bother? But what could have been that he would have actually been able to still play? You know, Joe Cole, you could argue, why doesn't he come in here about what could have been as well? He ran his knees to the ground too early. And Morientes, he was a star-studded striker in La Liga. What could have been that he could have passed the mantle of world-class striker to Fernando Torres? But he didn't. What could have been? It's more of a disappointment in here. With this one, it's not only disappointment, but resentment that they thought that they could join Liverpool and just pick up from where they were and just do whatever. That's the main difference I feel with Joe Cole and Morientes. It might be a bit too much in terms of just how I pictured Cole compared to Morientes, but he got sent off in his debut. That's not a good sign of a Liverpool player for me. I don't care. Fabio Borini, again, why did we bother? He is not a striker for the quality of Liverpool badge. You know, he is at best a mid-table striker. And credit to him, you know, he is a good striker. Just not Liverpool's quality. That he's not a player that you feel would have benefited Liverpool to challenge for titles and trophies. He was just there. Why did we bother? Donny, first piece of bread life, fit for purpose, as goalkeepers do. It's just what it is. Alvaro Arbeloa, I think he was good. You know, he was good. He was decent. He was the man before Glenn Johnson, and I enjoyed watching him play on the right back. He was solid. He was decent. He was defensively astute. That's it. I rate more defenders who know how to defend than defenders who know how to score goals and assist. That's my perception of it. Arbeloa was made for the right back position. Glenn Johnson was made for a right midfield position. Zenden, I think it was good. Maybe low character scoring compared to everyone else here, but I think it was good. Yes, you can argue how can someone like Zenden be playing in a shirt like a Liverpool shirt? I think he had very good Premier League pedigree. I think he deserved to wear a Liverpool shirt, and at times he showed why. Danny Wilson, he's still playing. It was a Scottish team in the Scottish Championship he was playing for recently in the playoffs, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, he's still playing? What could have been, man? What could have been? Josemi, I don't think Liverpool needed him. This isn't a case of someone who didn't deserve wearing a Liverpool shirt or somebody who was so bad. I just don't think the move benefited both parties. That's why I don't think we should have bothered with Josemi. That's where I'll go. Yeah. Kyriakos, fit for purpose, he was decent, he was alright. C tier, he was there. He was there to play his part, and he did it rather well. He was decent. Pellegrino, you know what? I remember when he was a Southampton manager for a little while, and then there was talk that he played for Liverpool. I had no idea. I think there's a reason why. Ryan Babel. Consistency was the main issue. I really enjoy, again, a winger like Ryan Babel. He would challenge defenders. He would try to find his man in the box. He was just so inconsistent, and that is a great shame, you know? I'm going to put him a bit more higher. Maybe there. Yeah, it's a shame, because I wanted to put him in good, and as much as he was good for Liverpool, he wasn't good often enough. Robbie Keane. God, I'm going to put violins on this one. So I'm going to put him what could have been. Now, here's the thing. I'm making a video right now about Robbie Keane's time at Liverpool. He joined in 2008, and he only lasted 6 months. We signed him for £19 million. We sold him for £12 million 6 months later. Benitez, again, he did not play him in his preferred place, which is undoubtedly a striker. He played him on the left. A player with over 100 Premier League goals. Why couldn't he just play Torres and Keane up front and then Gerrard behind them? Such a disappointment. And it's not the disappointment on Robbie Keane's case. I'm pointing the finger right at Rafa Benitez, like I'm pointing the finger at Brendan Rodgers with Lazar Markovic. It's terrible how they could just experiment with potential and already proven players in different positions. Yes, you could argue him and Dirk Kuyt aren't so different, where they were both strikers and then they were pushed on the wing. But Dirk Kuyt was pushed on the ring when he joined the Premier League. Robbie Keane was made for the Premier League, you know? Why fix something that isn't broken? But more so, if you're going to play Robbie Keane on the left in Dinamo, why would you sign him in the first place? Got on my tits. Jesus. Sebastian Cortez, he was just there. He was a lump on a pitch. But you know, you can't discredit that he just fit for purpose when he did play. Oh, and our last one, we've got Hobbs. I remember nothing about him. Why did we bother? Boom. Ah, look at that. Isn't that lovely? So, out of all these, I have I only have 5 icons during this decade. I have 9 cult heroes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 19 players who I felt were good for Liverpool. 17 that were there. They weren't all that, but they fit for purpose in a Liverpool shirt. I have 14 that I just wish we got to see more of, more so for varying reasons. And then the one that takes a cake, the players who I just could not understand from one reason to another why Liverpool signed them and how Liverpool could have believed these players would have suited in a Liverpool shirt. Disgrace. So, maybe this will cause a bit of controversy. Who knows? I look forward to it. Let me know if there are any other players that you would put in a different category. I'm sure you might want to put more in the icons. You know, if you put Mascherano or Dirk Kuyt or even Luis Garcia in the icons, I would agree with you. I wouldn't see why not. But this is just my personal perspective. And we all have different opinions on players. And that's okay. It's not hurting anyone. So, hopefully you enjoyed this little tier list. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.